You're listening to Spreaker Web Radio.
You are listening to Let's Talk About It, sponsored by the #1 broadcasting network on the net. And that's Spreaker, that's Spreaker, that's Spreaker, that's .com.
Separates us is what we've been taught to believe. But don't you be deceived. Oh yeah, we are one. We are one. We are one.
If there is anyone out there who still doubts that America is a place where all things are possible, who still wonders if the dream of our founders is alive in our time, who still question the power of our democracy, tonight is your answer.
You're asking today, how long will it take? Somebody's asking, how long will prejudice blind the visions of men? I come to say to you this afternoon, however difficult the moment, however frustrating the hour, it will not be long, because truth crusher will rise again. How long? Not long, because no lie can live forever. Yes, sir. How long? Not long. Because you shall reap what you sow. Yes, sir. How long? Not long. How long? Truth forever on the scaffold, wrong forever on the throne. Yes, that scaffold sways the future. Behind the dim unknown standeth God within the shadow, keeping watch above his own. How long? Not long. Because the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice. How long? Not long. Because mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord. He's trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He's loosed the fateful lightning of his terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. He has sounded forth the trumpet that shall never call retreat. He is tempting out the hearts of men before his judgment seat. Oh, be swift, my soul, to answer him. Be jubilant, my feet. Our God is marching on. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah. Glory, hallelujah.
Don't let nobody tell you. I know. You'll be the same.
Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome, Facebook, welcome, Google, Twitter, my friends that tagged and linked, my YouTube baby, Spreaker.com, internet listeners all around the world. Welcome to Let's Talk About It. I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White, coming to you live from the Jewel of the Delta, and that is Forest City, Arkansas, where it is 68 degrees. And little light rain and a little light showers and whatever ever is going on by the hours. And what's going on by the hours is Donald Trump. But before I do and say all of that, let me introduce to you my round table, my square table, my buddy, my pal, my friends, and my co-host, the uppity and well-read Jacqueline Lambert. Jackie, are you there?
Yes, Brenda, I am.
Yes. She sounds annoyed, y'all. She is. Donald Trump has annoyed her to no end. Okay. And my next
To say the
baby,
least, yeah.
my next baby that's here that is helping me to talk about it and always helping to keep you informed from the Université of Montreal, and that is the professor of the blues himself, Professor Walter Dubille. Walt, are you there?
I am here.
The crowd welcomes you. And we have on the line joining the chat every Thursday until further notice, Jackie's baby brother and my big nephew, Kenneth Morganfield. Ken, are you there, darling?
Right here.
Okay, so I'm having, I have a laptop and I have my big computer in front of me, and there are things that I do with the laptop during showtime that I do not do with the big computer. I don't mess with pulling in anything, opening up anything while I'm doing the show. And so my laptop is giving me problems, saying that I don't have an internet connection. Well, that's a lie, because I am on the internet talking to y'all right now. Okay, I'm not gonna break down, but it does annoy me. So Walt, I will be looking for you to share the show on Facebook, Twitter. Let's talk about it, and just please do that for me, okay? Okay, because I can't.
Okay. Well, I'm not in front of my computer, but I will go and do that while you warm everybody up.
Oh, and please just join the conversation and put it on my page as well. All right, coming from you. Thank you. Well, no, it's
all right,
on.
So I will go and do that, and I will let you warm up the crowd.
Yeah, well, it is on my page, but we need it on the Let's Talk About It page. But I can't change the photos. It's just going to be Tina Turner. So I'm sorry for that, y'all. For right now, anyway. Okay. All right, but you know how it is.
All right, I'll go and see what I can do, because I set up the laptop next to me here. Yeah. And I will go and do it on my main computer.
Thank you. Okay. Now, y'all. So Jackie, today's subject, I gave the show a subject that Trump delivers the knockout blow to himself. He's done this to himself all year.
Yes.
Hillary didn't really even have to run an ad about him. All she had to do is run ads about herself, because he has done this to himself. And it has always been Donald Trump's mouth. Now he's out this morning making the rounds on TV. They're cheating, and it's rigged, and Donna Brazil, all of that's a lie. Donna Brazil.
Not only that, Brand, he should know. This is the thing. It's all a lie. He should know that it's a lie. But for some reason, he just can't, because the people, that's the thing about having, worshipers. Mm-hmm. Anything that he says, those people who just love them from Donald Trump, mm-hmm. They believe everything that comes out of his mouth.
Everything he comes out of his mouth. Everything.
And even if they don't believe it, they'll still accept it.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, I saw I read an interview in The Atlantic a few months ago when they did their thing about who are these people supporting Donald Trump, right? Mm-hmm. And this one guy says, we know he's not going to build a damn wall and that Mexico's going to pay for it. It's just nice to hear somebody say it. Uh-huh.
Just nice.
What does that mean?
Jackie, it's not nice for me to hear him say it. Yeah. I don't like that kind of crap. And it's just some racist language to get shit started against other people, in my opinion.
When they start talking about immigration, I always think to myself, it is amazing how, they keep talking about the southern border, and I guess I should talk about this when Walt comes back. But, the United States has 2 land borders, right? Uh-huh. And, well, I guess 3 if you think about Alaska up there, right? And, but all they're concerned about is Mexico. They're not concerned about the Canadians, right?
Uh-huh.
And it just amazes me. It amazes me. Well, the thing what I'm saying is what amazes me is that, no one ever points that out.
Well, Hillary posted this morning on Facebook, Jackie, saying how well we had done last night and asking us to contribute a little more money as we fought for the down ballot, winning our down ballots, continuing to step it up and win. And somebody got on to her post as we were congratulating her, and and started with you saying niggers and you this and you that and you.
Yeah, there you go.
Jackie,
Brenda, that post should be up on your timeline. Is it okay?
I don't know, Walt. I can't see anything. I can't get on my laptop. And
okay.
And as I said, I don't divert from my Spreaker page at all in case something goes berserk. So I believe you, and we'll leave it at that. So I know it went to my timeline. I just wanted you to put it on. Let's talk about it.
Okay.
But anyway, he went in and he started to call all these names to the different people, the different heritages that Donald Trump has started to pick on for these past 15 months,
Yeah.
And so it was all the Jews and chinks and saying niggas, and he actually wrote that, and somebody said, why don't you get your butt back over to Breitbart and take this mess where somebody wants to read that mess? And then he wrote back, are y'all you people just ignorant, you don't understand? And I just said, you should be at the bottom of the basket of the deplorables.
Yeah.
And stop writing on this post. Go away. Shoo. I don't get myself in on their post, Jackie, but they're always trying to convince us of how crazy we are.
The thing is just like, Walt, have you read Hillbilly Elegy yet?
No, I've ordered it, but I haven't read it.
Okay. Well, just like J.D. Vance talks about in his book, these people want to be noticed. Do you understand?
Yes.
They're so outside the norm, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the internet has given them an opportunity to congregate together, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they can see this stuff back and forth and reinforce their stereotypes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they just want to be noticed. It just makes them mad. They see the world around them that doesn't agree with them, and they hate it. And nobody notices them.
And just how can you?
They're like little kids throwing a tantrum that want attention.
Yeah, Jackie. Are you people just insane? How can you? You just don't.
And the thing is, if you want them to get off a page, ignore them. Just talk over them. They'll leave.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting that you're talking about the J.D. Vance book, but there's been a few books that came out actually just around or before the election on the same topic, right? Have you noticed that? There's one that the history of white trash in the U.S. or something. I don't remember the title.
That's just what I was thinking about, white trash. And I considering getting that one. Yeah, but go ahead.
Yeah, and what was the other one that you mentioned? The one from Louisiana, the lady who went from what was it, Berkeley or something to Louisiana, Hochstein or something like that. Do you remember that? Hochschild. I heard that book too. So there seems to be a whole mess of these things coming out. Maybe it's it's in the air. I don't know.
Well, but everybody, look, don't you remember when the spate of articles started coming out about basically asking the question, who are these people? Okay?
Right.
And so I appreciate folks trying to explain it, but I still don't get it. Okay? I'm trying to get it, but I still don't get it.
Well, what I think is, I don't want to cut in here, but what I think is sort of interesting that we don't really talk about often is, I had this experience with a neighbor at my mother's. Okay, so this isn't American, but there's this perfectly nice lady who lives across the street. She might look a little dyke or something like that, but she's very nice, And we chat, and she kind of looks after my mother who's older, and all that kind of thing. And we start talking about it, and
you know, and she has this neighbor who's, you know, black and married to a white lady, and then all of a sudden she starts in about the race thing, and I'm saying, what is, you know, what is this? I mean, it's perfectly, and so the thing is, you can never tell, right?
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
You can never tell. You assume that, like, you know, you're having a conversation with in your Starbucks with somebody, and if all of a sudden it turns, and that's what makes you uncomfortable, I think. You know, I mean.
Yeah, because they seem completely normal.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Completely normal. You know, they'll buy your coffee for you and all that, and, you know, and talk to you about whatever, the baseball game or whatever. And then all of a sudden, it's like a switch goes on, and they're in a different world.
Yeah, their reality alters, yes.
You know, so the people who are out there is one thing. That's the thing about the selection, okay? When people talked about that phenomenon of, you know, maybe people not wanting to say who they want to vote for, right? You know, you know, it's not over till it's over. I mean, you know, despite what the polls say and everything, just because of that phenomenon, I think, you know, it makes you nervous until you know. And I mean, frankly, you know, I'm not a huge Hillary person, but the fact is, if there's not two candidates on that stage when they go there, that's the problem, right? There's only one candidate. I'm still looking for somebody to be the other candidate.
Oh, well, I'm sorry, that ship has sailed.
That ship has sailed. And
get another one, yeah.
Would we ever have thought that we would have rather seen Lindsey Graham up there? I mean, you know, but we would have, right?
Yes. Yeah, we would have. And I noticed in the debate last night, I loved it when Hillary started riffing on what they were doing in the 70s, 80s, 90s, you know. That was too excellent. That was very excellent. You know, this is what I've been doing over the last 4 decades, and this is what Donald has been doing. And I mean, she made him look so small. Oh my God. You know, I thought that was, you know, nobody's really talking about that because of the whole I won't accept the results of the election thing.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, it was like that from the first debate onward, right? I mean, just had the impression that there's only one candidate. What's going on with this other guy standing over here, right?
Who doesn't know anything? I mean, Trump is only good for about 20 minutes, and then he becomes completely incomprehensible. You know, my husband kept saying to me, "What the hell did he say? What the fuck is he talking about? You know, that wasn't a question. What does this have to do with that?" It's like, sweetie, nothing.
Well, you know, the other thing is you don't get this because you don't probably look at the Canadian stuff, but there's a Canadian Huffington Post, right? And you get it on AOL. And one of the features this morning was Margaret Trudeau, who was Pierre Elliott Trudeau's wife and the mother of the current prime minister, right?
Right.
Who was this sort of, you know, very nice looking, very fancy, she was like Jackie Kennedy type of person, right? Mm-hmm. And she had some psychological problems, and her take was, one candidate we will not mention who seems to be bipolar. And she went through this thing about, I went through all this treatment for bipolar disorder, and this guy has all the symptoms, right?
That's great.
Man,
it's really great.
Okay, so y'all, let's talk about the debate. How?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, can I just say one thing? It took me 20 minutes to get past Donald Trump's hair, because every time he sort of looked into the camera and the camera was close up on him, I thought, you know, that part of his forehead was covered by something. You know, when they cover the faces of people, you know? Oh, wow. You know, there was this big blob on his forehead, and I'm saying to Barbara, I'm saying, what is that, right? You know, I can't listen to what he's saying because it looks like he's in some ass porn movie or something. He blacked out his face, right? Oh, God.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for that, because you guys, I got to tell you, well, everybody at the panel knows, but the audience doesn't know, I was depressed when the show started.
Well, you know, there are moments to be depressed, but, you know, it's sort of like being bipolar. There are moments where you just have to look at this and say, oh, my God, you know, I mean, it's just weird, you know, it's serious, but in a sense, if you take it too seriously, you'll be depressed all the time, right?
That is very true. That's true. So thank you for that. But just like Brenda said, okay, so let's talk about the debate.
What debate? Well, I mean, you know, yeah, personally, I mean, you know, the first statement that comes out about the Second Amendment, you know, like as if it's going to disappear out of the Constitution automatically, right? And then this business about, the whole business about, going to take away people's hunting rifles in Vermont or something. I don't know. It's too weird for me, This discussion about Chicago and all that, and the D.C. ban. I mean, if I would have been Hillary, I know she had to go to the audience, but that was an awful decision about the D.C. gun law, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that came out right very, very early. And, she pointed out that, when you look at the number of deaths and so on, look, I mean, we have strict gun laws here. We have all kinds of people go hunting, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see them on the side of the roads, all that kind of stuff. But getting a handgun here is hard, and the murder rate is lower. I mean, and there's a surprising, actually, a sort of surprising article I read in the university thing. They send to the graduates, they always send you these magazines. The criminology people at the University of Montreal did a study, and 90% of the homicides in Canada are solved. 90%.
Well, Walt, what you were just saying is just common sense. It's common sense. People have guns, but your murder rate is low there because every nut can't get a gun. Every felony.
Exactly, and they can't shoot their wife when they get in an argument with her. Right?
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. But Donald Trump is an amazing fucker. I won't even call him a creature. I don't think creatures want to be associated with him. But this is amazing. He stood right there in front of Chris Wallace, whom he had that conversation with, that Hillary called him on about, what was it, guys? It was, Hillary started talking to him about nukes. And Chris Wallace had done that interview himself where he said, let everybody, Japan, China, Russia, Saudi Arabia, he wanted everybody to have nukes. Yeah, they can fight themselves. We don't have to always go fighting for them. And when she's quoted to him what he said, you're not going to find me saying that. I said, this man is insane. We all know it's on tape. We just saw it. And I think that interview was only 2 or 3 weeks ago. And then she said to him the thing about the women when Chris asked him about that. And she said, well, Donald's already apologized to his wife. I didn't apologize to nobody. But you came on TV and you said you had. And then just night before last, when your wife had this little interview with Anderson Cooper, she said, Donald has apologized to me. And I have forgiven him. She plagiarized Hillary Clinton's apology tape. I don't know what the hell is going on, but I know she is about to beat his ass like a rented mule. Because people are starting to see, damn. And did y'all see? Is anybody there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did y'all see? Yeah. Did y'all see the rally? There was a rally where
taco truck.
Someone had been going to his rallies and videotaping and things of that nature. And at his rallies, they are screaming out, if he calls Obama's name, fuck that nigger. If he calls Hillary name, fuck that whore. She's a bitch. She's a whore. Pictures of Donald Trump. You can grab this down here. And I mean, they've got all kinds of hats and signs that they're selling. Fuck that pussy. And these people are disgusting.
Yeah.
They are nuts.
A basket of deplorables.
That's right. And Hillary was
right. I thought it was interesting that, she came back on him when he was talking about trade and pointing out that the construction of his building was done with Chinese steel. Right?
Oh, I know.
And what could he say? He said, well, you let me do it. Well, that, I don't think anybody, would have actually been surprised if somebody would have come back and said, well, you did have the choice, right?
Yeah,
Incredible.
that was amazing, wasn't it, Walt, when he said, "Will you let me do it?" The
Yeah.
laws you passed. He acts like Hillary has been president all this time.
Well, I sit up and I think about the gun control talk, the Second Amendment talk, and when Hillary was making the point about common sense gun control laws, and she was speaking about the toddlers in Chicago, where you have common sense gun control, no fly, no buy, where the kids can't get a hold of the guns. And Donald Trump's response was absolutely nothing. It was like I give a damn about the kids or anything else.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what was interesting about that when Hillary was talking about that? I just read an article, I believe last week, which was about how many toddlers kill themselves and other people.
Yes, yeah, I saw that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And I did not realize it was so much. Now, I remember the story that I heard last year, that I saw last year, about a woman who was shot in Walmart by her 2-year-old because apparently she had a loaded firearm in her purse. She had the baby in the basket, right, with the purse next to the baby. She shot them. The baby gets hold of the gun and ends up shooting his mama. Okay?
Oh, yeah,
and so,
Jackie.
and the article pointed out that these things happen in the South. Open carry states, and this, that's where they are by far the most prevalent. And it just still kills me that these people, what I say about the Second Amendment is that the Second Amendment was established 235 years ago, right, somewhere in there, during the time that everybody used single-shot muskets.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point. Yeah.
Yeah. So, if everyone had the right to bear a single-shot musket, it wouldn't be as bad as it is today.
Yeah, that would be a literal interpretation of the Second Amendment.
Exactly. That would be a literal. And since they talk about as the founders intended, well, that's what the founders intended. So,
the founders armed militia for the protection of the states in the Second Amendment. An armed militia.
Right.
In other words, the National Guard is the armed militia.
Yeah, that's what I thought as well. And when the Supreme Court said that it was an individual right, I was surprised at that. I was really surprised at that, because if it wasn't for the militia, then why was it in there?
Yeah, and I read something interesting in that article I was talking about that the criminologist wrote in the university paper, which is that, there's all this talk about Muslims and all this business. The murder rates in the Maghreb, right, are way inferior to the murder rates in the United States. Exactly. Algeria and Tunisia and those places have murder rates that are like less than half of what it is in the United States.
Yes.
So, who are these barbarians, right?
Oh, but y'all,
Bob got jokes today.
Yes, he does. Well, Jackie, there's been some. I can't read the things that I wanted to read because I'm still not connecting. But I'm still trying to connect to my laptop so that I can go there and read some of the interesting things. But did anyone see Morning Joe yesterday morning?
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
Well, I saw portions of it, and one was of Steve Schulman. Let me see if I can go to my phone. But Steve Schulman, the campaign manager for John McCain, he and Nicole Wallace, they were in Game Change. They were the campaign managers that found out and exposed the fact that Sarah Palin didn't know diddly shit. Well, he was on Morning Joe yesterday morning, and once again talking about that intellectual rot coming down through the Republican Party and the manifest unfitness of Donald Trump. And he suggested and Well, basically, he was calling the game. He said it's over for Donald Trump, and it's over for the Republican Party for years to come. He also suggested that that Hillary Clinton would have over 400 electoral college votes, and that Donald Trump would have 100 and maybe 8 or something. But it was just really, it was amazing as he continued to call him a misfit, a complete and total misfit. And I always say this, and Donald Trump and his people don't get it. If Hillary Clinton had never ran one ad, Donald Trump's mouth has ended this campaign for him.
Yeah.
It's his mouth. Polls are up now. In Nevada, Hillary Clinton is up 47-40. Ooh.
You know, my thing about Donald Trump and his base is the communication. That's a nice way of saying it. Because anybody who sits up on stage goes bigly. Okay?
And,
who are you talking to?
And strongly.
Who are you talking to? I don't even understand that. Have you guys noticed the gap between the language that Hillary, the lawyer, uses and Donald Trump, the businessman, uses?
Oh, yeah.
Have you noticed that? My question is, in what business world do we talk like that? Only in Trump's world, I do believe.
I've never heard anyone speak like that, Ken.
You know, and then you have this group of people where you know Hillary labeled them deplorable, which because of their ignorance, their lack of understanding, I don't know if I could say lack of education, but I guess I should. They probably don't even understand what Hillary is saying.
You know what, Kenneth? That is a really good observation. Because it is kind of shocking to me the way that, when you talk to people, I was thinking about that the other day when, they were when Trump was on his thing about the media and the elites and all this other stuff. And if you watch, say, like Brenda and I, we love to watch MSNBC, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we watch. And they speak in a way that I understand. But I was thinking about this the other day, that, probably a lot of people don't understand the words that they say. Do you understand? Do you guys get
Jackie,
what I mean?
that's very likely. Yeah.
48 hours.
Yeah, but it's like there are a lot of people who just don't seem to get what they're talking about, and the words that they say, and like all of these guys have like a similar level of education,
Mm-hmm.
and so they talk to people like everybody's a college graduate, and no, everyone is not a college graduate. So there you go, So yeah, because I'm trying to think of something that Chris Hayes said the other night that got me, and it cracked me up, and he and his guests were like really cracking up, and I thought to myself, well, gee whiz, how many people, like they always talking about, the non-college educated whites, blah, blah, blah. How many people understood that?
Yeah.
How many people understood that reference? And the thing is, probably less than half the folks, if you were just pulling
Jackie,
when Bill Maher talks about, Bill Maher said something on one of his recent shows when he was talking about the electorate being stupid.
Mm-hmm.
He said that only 35% of Americans could name the 3 branches of government.
Yes, I saw that.
Wow.
I find that can't be right. And when he said that, I was thinking to myself, I'm sorry, Bill, but that just can't be right.
Yes, it can.
That is
right.
I bet it can be right.
You remember when the governor of Texas couldn't name the branches, not the branches, but the offices of the government that he wanted to get rid of.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they were so bad.
That was my good friend Rick Perry.
Yes, it was.
Well, okay, now, Walt, Okay, what is your take on this? Do you believe that only a little more than a third of the entire United States did not name the three branches of government?
Well, it used to be. We're dating ourselves, right? It used to be that when you went to high school,
Yes.
about grade, I don't know, 9 or 10 or something like that. I guess it was 9 in my case.
Not ninth grade, that's
Yeah,
right.
they gave you a course that sort of explained the branches of government.
You had to take civics.
Yeah,
Everybody had to take
Civic,
civics.
that's correct.
I mean, that's grade 9, right?
Right.
Right.
And you would assume that most of the population has grade 9 or above.
Yeah, you think so.
So I don't know. That's the thing. It's you really don't know what's out there. I mean, you keep on. I don't know. I mean, you and I, Jackie in particular, have had this conversation. I don't know how many times.
Yeah,
but
yeah, and I still don't feel any better about it. But please,
no, I don't either. let me give you off the. This is off the topic. Let me give you an example. I was just reading this book about behavioral economics. Okay, which is now a big field, right? And the guy who wrote the book is from the University of Chicago, and he gave the following anecdote when he started off his book. He said, I was giving this course at the university. This happened to be in the East, I think, at Cornell or someplace. Mm-hmm. And he said, we marked people on 100, and my class average was 72, okay, which is reasonably high. But you have to grade so that at least half of your class gets B plus or better.
Okay.
Okay. So he said, people were complaining, right, because this was too hard. An average is 72. That's pretty good, I think. But, anyway, he said, so in order to remedy this, what I did was I changed all my exams to be marked on 137.
Are you kidding me?
Okay. And he said, and the person who got 92 on 137 was as happy as the person who got 92 on 100.
My goodness.
And this is in the university, right? He said because people couldn't figure out their marks. Most people in their head, he picked 137 for the obvious reason, couldn't figure out how good their mark was on 137. And we're talking about university students. So do I think that people probably don't know? I don't know. Maybe. Right? It's just too strange. People's behavior is too strange.
Yeah, well,
I mean, and the thing about it, they keep talking about, schools and public schools, and I think we are all required to learn how to read, write, and cipher, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And in social studies and civics, that's part of what we're supposed to learn as well. And I tell you guys, I don't get it. I don't understand how you can go through 12 years of school and be that ignorant. And I mean, is it that our standards have dropped? Is it? I don't get it.
Jackie, you just went through and you just didn't learn a damn thing. Ken, may I ask you to turn your phone off for a moment?
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sweetheart. I'll give you a shout when I want you to turn it back on.
Well, so what is it? The education didn't take.
Yeah, it didn't take, Jackie.
Yeah.
And somehow they just let them go on through. I can't explain it, but this level of ignorance.
Well, but Brenda, what I don't get is, your mother started out teaching like in one of those storied one-room schoolhouses.
Yes.
And her children went on to become doctors, lawyers, and Indian chiefs.
That's right.
In that environment.
And very intelligent people.
I'm sorry, Brenda.
I said very intelligent people.
Right.
Mom made sure they understood.
Become judges and politicians and all kinds of people when their education started in that poor little one-room schoolhouse. So, when people talk about, the education system and they need more money and this, that, and the other, I mean, my grandmother used to have to, she was the school lunch program, right?
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have good instructional materials, all kinds of things, but she managed to educate her children.
She did, Jackie.
I still don't.
I am convinced, Jackie, this kind of ignorance and hatred, there's no other way for this to come about unless it is taught, it is learned. If the
Okay, I'm sorry. Now my depression is.
no,
I mean, I would go along with what you said. I mean, I didn't.
there's just no other way. All scientific tests show that little black babies get together and they just play with one another. They don't have any hatred whatsoever. They don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
It is until they start to grow up, speak words, understand what words mean, that whomever is raising them teaches them to hate. You can be brought up with white and black kids in the home together and say, this is your little brother, this is your little sister. I mean, one day the kid may ask, Mommy, why is Brenda's skin darker than mine? They may ask something like that. But if the parent gives this really excellent explanation, such as, oh, it's called pigmentation in the skin. And some little babies are born with a dark pigmentation and some aren't. And so Brenda was born with a little darker. So she's the brown baby, and blah, blah. But you can say it with so much love. Kids will, if you put that into their head, just like when any general trains an army, you put it in their head and you put it in their head and you put it in their heads every single day. And they're going to do what you've taught them to do, Jackie, automatically. Hatred.
So true. That's one of the things that my father told me, is that the reason that they like to get young people into the military, they like to get folks when they're young, is because you can teach a young person to do anything.
That's right.
But the fact remains too that when you look at things, you don't have to like everybody, right?
No, you don't.
But what you do have to perform. Well, I would say you have to do in these situations is respect people, right?
Right. That's just
Absolutely.
what I was thinking, Walt. Just have a modicum of respect.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to, ethnic groups, everybody doesn't like everybody else. I mean, for whatever reason, right?
Yeah.
Historic or otherwise.
Yeah.
But if you're in a society where people respect each other, you don't have these problems.
Yeah. And, and what I see too much is that, you've got to respect me, but I don't have to respect you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what we see from Trump supporters.
And that's where our problem comes in. And, the Republican Party, well, I will say since Bill Clinton, okay, it's when we started really seeing this absolute vitriol and the Democrats were the enemy, and I mean, in Bill Clinton's case, I think it was just that he was a country boy from Arkansas, blah, 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 and he got along with those Negroes way too well. Okay. And so, you started seeing that, and I heard someone say, I was so happy to hear somebody say this last night, because there was, Hillary's a liar, and she's so corrupt, and blah, 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 blah. And I was thinking about that. If someone had been saying that about you in public 30 years, and then somebody went and looked for themselves, and just like you always say, Brenda, that that Hillary isn't corrupt because she would have been in jail long before now.
I always say you know why I know she's not guilty of anything? Because white men haven't put her in jail. Because if white men can't put you in jail, can't nobody put you in jail. And they have certainly spent enough money to have her in jail. But here's what I find amazing, Jackie. I have stopped and taken the time each and every time that someone says to me, well, Hillary, she just so corrupt. What has she done? Well, I don't know. I mean,
Benghazi.
Yeah, Benghazi. What about Benghazi? Where she left them to die, that is a lie. How did she leave them to die? Chris Stevens was her friend. Congress would not give them more money. They had requested more money so that they could build make security a little bit stronger in several other places abroad.
Yeah, and then the other thing too is that Chris Stevens didn't want a bunch of security.
And that's
this
the next
something
thing.
that they argued about.
Chris Stevens
Hillary
did.
had argued
That's
with
right.
Yeah.
He wanted those people to trust him. He said he wanted to show them that he was his friend, their friend, and he trusted them. And he went out without security all the time. He didn't want to be in the embassy. In the U.S. Vans, and all that shit. He wanted to just be out there.
He did travel with light security, and that's something that was known about him.
He did indeed.
Worldwide, pretty much. Yeah.
He did indeed. And Jackie, I always notice that when I start telling these stories to these people, when I tell that story, particularly about Chris Stevens, that was her friend. She loved him. Yeah. What reason?
But Brenda, listen, there's the thing that I have discovered, and the thing that I have just come to accept, is that these people, they're certainly not going to convince me, right, to see things their way.
Right.
And I know I'm not going to convince them.
That's right, Jackie. And I just rather not have a conversation with them.
The only thing that we can do, one of the things that Tomie said to me the other day, my daughter, is, I was home depressed about this election, right? And she said, well, Mom, look, early voting has started. Why don't you go ahead and vote? It'll make you feel better.
Okay. Early.
And I said, you're right, sweetie, but, in California, you can't just go and vote because there's like 50 million initiatives on the ballot. So, I have to read up before I can go vote.
Oh, that's true. I read the LA Times. There's like 1,000 things on the ballot there, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And some of them are good. Well, I know that we're supposed to be talking about the debate, but can I veer off a little bit because they were talking about Obamacare?
Absolutely.
We're just a second in the debate. And Obamacare is a disaster. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Your premiums are going to go up 100%. Nobody's premiums are going up 100%, Donald.
But they don't know, Jackie. They don't know what the premiums are. And most of them in that room, if they would allow themselves to have the affordable care, they probably have no premiums.
Yeah, well, in California, it's working pretty well. And two things on the ballot pertain to that in California. One is the hospital, the usage fee that the state wants to start collecting from private hospitals. That they've already collected. They collected from public hospitals so they can get the Medicaid matching funds. And now they want to mandate it for private hospitals, which I guess we're not, paying that fee, the Medicaid usage fee. And so that's on the ballot, and I'm pretty sure that will pass because it's not opposed by anybody. Even the private hospitals don't oppose it because they get, additional funding, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one is that the state of California will not pay more than the VA does for prescription drugs. And Bernie Sanders has been out here campaigning about that one. It's Proposition 61.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be interesting to see what happens with that because in the Affordable Care Act, I'll put it this way. In the Affordable Care Act, it says that the United States, the nation, cannot negotiate for lower drug prices, but it doesn't say the individual states cannot. And so that is what, California wants to start doing, but apparently we need legislation to do that. So, and I'm pretty sure that one will pass because one of the things that hurts, and we have talked about this before, and it amazes me that more people don't understand this, okay? Because Bernie Sanders was on Bill Maher a couple of weeks ago, and this is something that Bernie was talking to him about, right?
Uh-huh.
That's why he was in California, one of the other reasons he was in California that week. But when he was telling Bill Maher that the only government agency that could negotiate for lower drug prices was the VA.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill Maher was just outraged. What? Did you know this? And yeah, Bill, it was a big thing when they were debating the Affordable Care Act in the first place. That the Republicans were trying to protect their pharmaceutical companies.
Right.
This is why we didn't get the public option. And I was saying to my husband that, after the Republicans got all this shit in there that they wanted, not one of them voted for the bill. Think about that.
Yeah.
Not one of them voted for the bill. And so these Americans subsidize prescription drug costs for virtually every nation on earth. Okay? I mean, the way the Clinton Foundation got HIV drugs to over 11 million people was by negotiating these drug prices. You know, that Bill got in there and he, worked with these different countries and the pharmaceutical companies to make affordable HIV drugs available to people in Africa. So we know that it can be done. And, I guess if you would put it to a lot of these Trump supporters as you are paying to subsidize health care in Denmark, okay? That you're paying for those people in Denmark. Maybe they would feel differently about it because they don't want anybody to have anything. I'm paying for you. I don't want to get deadbeat, you bum. So maybe that's the way they have to do it.
Well,
I mean, we have a government drug plan here, and that's what happens. The government negotiates with the companies, right?
Well, that's why, people were always headed to Canada to get their prescriptions. Right, Walt? I mean, wasn't there a time when a lot of Americans went over to Canada to get their prescription drugs?
Yeah, especially people from the Northeast, right?
Yeah, right. Detroit, and that are pretty close to the Canadian border. Yeah.
Yeah, they used to rent buses and come across the border.
Yeah, this is really an amazing thing. I heard someone on Bill Maher discussing it took $1 to make this one pill, and they charge $1,000 for. These pharmaceutical companies are scandalous.
They are,
and they are so powerful. They're like the NRA.
That if your cost is $1 and you sell it for $20, you're gonna make plenty of money, right?
Yeah.
But no. Yeah. So anyway, this is something that just has to be done. And what bothers me the most is the reason that these things have not been done is largely because of the Republican Party.
Yes.
Who do they represent? I'm sorry, Kenneth, what was that?
I didn't say anything. I was clearing my throat. Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, you were.
I thought something was coming up out of my kitchen.
Popular vote. So that means that you're supposed to be representing those people that put you in office. And it's just, this whole election season has been so bizarro, right? I will not, it's like I said, I'm just nervous. I'm not going to feel better until the election is over. And it's come out the way that I want it to.
Well, there's another
going to be on your doorstep. Okay.
Yeah, there's another point about that when you talk about the drug companies, and it applies generally speaking to business. I mean, here, for example, we have a big in this particular city, we have a big pharmaceutical industry. They don't seem to be doing too badly, even with the negotiated drug prices. And there was a book that was written not too long ago. I think we talked about this, but I forget his name, the father and son who did this big biography of Keynes. They're from England, and they wrote a book about what is reasonable, right, in terms of profit, in terms of what you expect out of your life and things like that, and how things have gotten out of whack, right? That, for example, unlimited profit,
right,
and or even people's own expectations. I mean, what is the quote unquote good life? I mean, aren't you happy if you have a place to live and food at your table every day? I mean, that kind of thing. Why are you unhappy, right?
Yeah, when I worked in the mortgage industry, that's one of the things that my boss used to tell me all the time. Is that when you're doing loans, you do like the best rates that you can for this borrower because they need to at least be able to buy a couch or a lamp to go in their new house. You don't take, because back in those days, the mortgage broker determined what rate you would pay. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. That, you had these sheets that had all these different rates on them. And the rate that you chose as the mortgage broker determined how much you would be paid. Okay? So that is why, and that's why there was this big reorganization of the mortgage brokers after the crash. Because, you know, if you went through a broker, your broker had a range of interest rates they could offer you. And the higher your interest rate, the more the mortgage broker got paid. And I mean, like my company, we were paid about $5,000 a loan. Somewhere in there. It probably averaged out to $5,000 a loan. Now think about this. You're doing 12 loans a week.
Mm-hmm.
That's money. Okay? Yeah, you know, I mean, that's money. This was a small mortgage company, you know, teeny mortgage company. So think about those big mortgage companies and how much money they were making. So, you know, these are the things that, you know, my boss always said, look, you know, you do the best you can for the client, you know, and the rest will take care of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But there are people, and Barbara used to always say, nobody gets all the money. It's like, you can make some money, but nobody gets to have it all. And what it is with these guys, they're trying to get all the money. So, yeah, it's ridiculous. And, you know, Walt, we have talked about this before, about what they used to teach at business school, you know, 30 years ago when I was in school, and what they teach today. Real different, you know, because there was, you know, you were supposed to have a responsibility to your clients, to your vendors, to your employees, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our responsibility now is to the dollar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
You know,
it's like they only care about their executives or their investors. That's it.
well, the problem is also that comes, you know, how that works down the chain, right? I mean, we have this particular company here, which is which grew out of cooperatives, you know, banking cooperatives, and you know, your standard credit union type of thing. And they grew to be a pretty big company, but they're supposed to have these roots to give you back some money, and when you bank with them, and so on and so forth. And even in recent years, talking to the employees there, it's just become, you know, competitive. I mean, the employees themselves don't even talk to each other hardly, because everybody's got to generate profit for the banking industry. And that's true in so many businesses when you talk to people. I mean, it's come here, for example, I know that to some extent that's true. And among people I know in the U.S., it's to grind out the money, and it's not really any kind of responsibility toward the client, right?
Right, that's right. You know, and then we have so many businesses that try to force you to do business with them.
So now, Jackie, you've just described our Congress, our legislative branch, especially the Republican Party, because they are lobbied. They are leveraged in the lobby, and you know, our problem is they do not govern people; they govern dollars. Citizens United, okay, the Supreme Court, and our three branches of government are askew, because the legislative branch will not make laws. All right. The judicial branch is the one that's making laws.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
You're right about that.
And the executive branch is trying to play umpire between these two.
Yeah.
While you have the legislative branch that's going, we're not going to give you anything. We're not going to do anything if it doesn't meet with the American people, our constituency, which the American people is Franklin, Benjamin, Hamilton.
Yeah, it was reported just this week that John McCain basically said that the Republicans are going to be doing the same shit.
Yeah.
That they've been doing.
Yeah.
You know, as far as blocking legislation and things like that. And it's like, are you kidding me? Do you learn nothing?
Jackie, I really believe that when Hillary Clinton wins the presidency and they don't work with her at all, I really believe that they are going to, as Nicole Wallace said last night about Donald Trump, they're really going to put the lid on and seal the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
Because people...
Well, you would like to think so, wouldn't you,
Brenda?
Yeah,
Congress
that
has...
Look, in order for the Democrats to win the House, they would have to get, like, in aggregate, like 60% of the vote. Think about that. You know, that the Republicans have baked in. It's like Hillary Clinton said quite a while ago that the voters are not choosing their representatives. The representatives are choosing their voters.
Yeah. Now Donald Trump is they're playing clips from his rally that happened about an hour ago.
Yeah, that depressed Jackie so much.
Jackie so much. And the first thing out of his mouth, I will totally accept the election results if you know,
if
there's no funny stuff. If I win.
Yes.
Well, of course, if you win, nobody's going to think anything's wrong. But this is ridiculous.
If he wins, I'm going to think plenty is wrong.
Okay, because this is ridiculous. Today's polling just came out. Hillary Clinton is now up 7 points in Nevada.
I know.
This,
that's something.
Yeah. It's like she said last night. Donald didn't get the Emmy for The Apprentice. That was rigged. If he if he didn't get the job site that he wanted, that was rigged. You know, it's just whatever he doesn't win. He is, Jackie, the spoiled kid that never grew up. I wanted it. You know, he didn't just go to military school. His dad has sent him there because he was just an unruly child.
Yeah.
And here he still thank you. Here he is still an unruly child that you can't tell shit to. How in the hell? Well, you're going to lose. So get yourselves ready. He is going to lose. And this just doesn't make any sense to me. But
well, but you know, the thing that concerns me, guys, though, is, you know, last night when he started talking about violence at his rally, right? And tried to blame Hillary Clinton for the violence at his rally.
For the violence at his rally.
And what concerns me is that when he loses, should he lose, right, what are these fools going to do? Now, you know, there's been all this speculation about Trump TV, right?
Mm-hmm.
Last night, apparently, he had the debate and debate coverage streaming on his Facebook page, their own debate coverage.
Yeah.
Right? And so maybe, you know, this is just some way that this is a new scam for him. But, you know, if you look at the numbers of the people that are just, you know, so vociferously supporting him, even though it's not enough to win an election, it's enough to make plenty of money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
And so, you know, he could be, you know, I mean, he could be thinking that he's going to do the Glenn Beck thing. Oh, and speaking of Glenn Beck, I'm sorry, I'm just all over the place today, guys.
That's okay.
But speaking of Glenn Beck, have you guys been listening to him lately? I mean, Glenn Beck has been showing up on MSNBC. MSNBC, Glenn Beck is on.
Yeah,
talking about he's considered voting for Hillary. What?
Yes.
Really?
Is this program still on, his radio show?
He has
it's on every day.
Yeah, and he has an internet.
They took it off. I mean, the local stations in Vermont took it off.
Yeah, but he has an internet. He has an internet show.
They replaced him by this guy Brian Kilmeade, right?
Okay.
Who was a little less right wing.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, he's right wing, but it's a great headline today. I thought you would enjoy this. The great headline today is that Marco Rubio is up by 6 points in the Florida poll for the Senate. So they're thinking Marco will be around because the Democrat running against him made some big mistakes, like lying about his CV.
He lied about. He lied.
Gave Marco a big boost because the guy he's running against apparently didn't do a good job of presenting himself.
He lied about what? He lied about what?
Yeah, well, you like Marco, so he'll be back.
Wow, that is just so mean,
Walt, I'm sorry. Walt.
Well, we haven't had a Marco Rubio talk in a long time.
No, we haven't.
Walt, I'm sorry, but I missed.
I'm fine if I never have another Marco Rubio talk. Okay, well, but I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brenda. But
Well, I'm trying to get in on the laugh. I missed what you said. He lied about his opponent because you started laughing. What did he lie about? The opponent?
oh no, he said he lied about his CV, right?
Yeah, that's apparently. I mean, I don't know the. Yeah, the Republican guy. Apparently, he lied very badly. Right?
Okay.
Oh.
Kind of like I'm a Medal of Honor winner or some shit like that.
Yeah, that kind of thing, right? You know.
Okay.
You know. So that gave Marco a little boost, right?
Yeah, well,
that helped him. Well, okay.
Marco is he's trying to get away from Trump, but stay kind of close to him. I've told my Republican I've told the nominee, he won't even call his name. I've told the nominee, I stood up to the nominee when he said unforgivable, foul, vulgar things. I've stood up to him, and I'll stand up to it, whomever the president is going to be. Yeah, because you are.
Brenda, Chris Christie was helping Trump for this debate, right? You didn't mention that. That's your guy, Chris Christie.
Lardass?
No, Walt. Chris Christie and Roger Ailes backed out because Trump was listening to the Breitbart dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was
that was the debate before this one. Yeah.
Yeah, and they backed out of this one. Well, Christie got his own problems. Bridgegate is fast coming up on his ass.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And he's somewhere. He better be training himself for debate for lying, cause his ass could get 10 years in prison.
I thought you should invite him down to Arkansas, do a little running with you. You're telling me you're doing 3 miles every day. Chris, let's see how far you can go.
No. We don't want hogs. We got enough hogs down here. We don't need another.
Yeah, I'm gonna pass on that, Walt.
But wait. Let me jump in here. Go back to the down ballot races. You guys were talking about Marco Rubio and the tap dance that the Republicans are trying to do because they want to distance themselves from Trump's rhetoric, but they still want to be attached to Trump. And I want to get how you guys feel that's going to work on the down ballot as far as the Republicans losing the Senate and the House. What do you think the Trump effect is going to be down ballot?
I think it's going to be devastating down ballot. Jackie?
I don't think so.
You don't?
No. And I don't think it's going to be as bad as a lot of people think, just because I'm looking at, the polls and things right now. And, people with just like they have Obama derangement syndrome, a bunch of them have Hillary derangement syndrome as well.
That is true.
And so, I know what I would like for it to be, but I'm really trying hard to govern myself about this because I want it to be so doesn't make it so.
Mm-hmm.
And so if this were a normal, okay, I'll put it this way. If this were a normal election year,
yeah,
I would think, that it's going to be really bad for them down ballot. But, I'm not sure, and I'm looking at the polls. And one of the things that I do not understand about a lot of these averages is that, there are states where the polls are telling us that the Republican is ahead, but you look at the poll, but you look at what the predictions are, and they're predicting that the Democrat will win. So except in those states where, the Republican has like a double-digit lead or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I was just looking at that on Real Clear Politics this morning. And, I just gave it kind of a cursory look. But that struck me. Well, for instance, the average in New Hampshire, LTAI is still ahead, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're predicting that her opponent will win. And the other thing, too, is that I know that in campaigns' internal polls, this stuff shows up very differently as well. And that's one of the things that we're talking about in reference to Hillary Clinton's team starting to look very closely at some of these red states and putting money in them for down ballot races. So they must see something in their internal polling. And the thing is they have, Barack Obama's folks who were so good. I mean, these guys have developed their voter, their get out the vote operation and all that other stuff, where they can tell you exactly how many votes they're going to get from this place, that place, or the other place. That just still blows my mind.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And so I saw an interview after the second debate with their main polling guy, and he was incredibly confident. It's like, yeah, we got this thing, but we got to take it over the finish line and this, that, and the other. But those guys will just like when Barack Obama was running in 2012, and the polls were saying one thing and then another, and David Axelrod came out and was like, look, this election is over. And he was right. Barack Obama, they were thinking they were going to be up all night. It was completely anticlimactic because the race was called for Obama only 15 minutes later than it had been called in 2008. So the guys, the professionals, they seem to know something, but of course they're not sharing it with us. But, I would, so my thing is I would like, that was a really long answer just to get to this. I would very much like for them to suffer down ballot, but I am not sure that they do, because the general consensus is that Americans hate Congress, but they like their congressmen.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know exactly how I would answer that question either if you asked it to me, because what you read in terms of polling and stuff, I always have a great deal of confidence in Nate Silver's site, because they kind of look at all the polls and kind of give you an idea as to what could be wrong or what could be right,
Mm-hmm.
And basically they're pretty cautious about things, and so I kind of tend to believe a lot of what they say. I know that in the congressional district in which I will be voting, because I can vote in this election, I don't think it has very much to do with the national. The Republican is a personality. The Democrat is a local personality. The Democrats attached yourself more to Hillary Clinton. The Republican has already announced a month ago that he has no intention of supporting Donald Trump. So that's a little different. He's got a big lead in the polls. So, okay. And and then there is another candidate from the Working Families Party, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is
okay.
Yeah, the Working Families Party in New York. New York State's sort of interesting, because I don't know if you know this, but many years there is a Republican, there was a Democrat, there was a Conservative Party, which is more or less kind of the Barry Goldwater type of conservatives, right?
Okay. Yeah.
There was a local political science professor at the school that I went to who was a big Goldwater guy, for example, back in the day, and the party was basically that type of ideology. So a little bit of right from the classical Republicans, because you have to remember New York was like Nelson Rockefeller territory back when I was young, right? Mm-hmm. And then there was a Liberal Party, which was a little bit more liberal than the standard Democrats. And now the Conservative Party has kind of disappeared and become, I guess, libertarian more or less, right? And there's a Working Families Party, which is essentially like Bill De Blasio and the anti Andrew Cuomo people.
Yeah. Okay.
The Democrats who are a little more, I guess, I don't know what you say in the U.S., a little more progressive than the standard Democrats, right? And they've endorsed Hillary Clinton and Chuck Schumer for the Senate, but they have some of, in my particular congressional district, they have their own candidate for the House.
Okay.
Well,
right. Well, yeah, and you're talking about Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is so far ahead in his Senate race, it's really sad.
Yeah, I mean, Hillary Clinton and Chuck Schumer, it would have to be a complete disaster. Like somebody have to nuke the entire Eastern Seaboard.
Don't say that too loud, Walt.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. But y'all, the basket of deplorables are trying to frighten us. I think we're going to see a little rise in violence here, Jackie, because he's telling them You know what I mean. Go watch.
Yes.
Go to Philadelphia, down in these neighborhoods, in the inner city, Chicago. Go watch. Keep an eye. 2 million dead people are voting.
When he was talking about Chicago, because somebody was asking the question, who thinks that Illinois is in play? What are you going to get in Chicago but get your butt beat?
Okay, really? Jackie, this is what I'm saying. Take your ass down there. You know they're going to go down there wearing their Second Amendment. And you going to get you and your Second Amendment handed back to you down in Philly suburb, down in the Philly. Who in the world is calling me on the phone? Is that Walt got lost? Looks like.
Oh, no.
Hold on, everybody. We're going to take a short break, and I'm going to grab this. Just one moment. Walt, are you there?
I am. I got nuked.
Yeah.
I'm going to change my election thing. I got nuked.
You did get nuked.
I don't know.
But because you got nuked, I have to call Jackie back. So we're going to take a short break, everybody, and we're going to be right back. You are listening to Let's Talk About It. I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White, coming to you live from the Jewel of the Delta, and that is Forest City, Arkansas, broadcasting live from the #1 broadcasting network on the net, and that's Spreaker.com, baby. We're going to give you a little Nina Simone, and we'll be right back. Get yourselves ready to vote, and don't forget to vote down ballot.
We are. We're all made of the same stuff everywhere, from Mother Earth to the stars. We sing in the sunshine, we all share the air that we breathe. The only thing that separates us is what we've been taught to believe. But don't you be the same. I knew how it would feel to be free. I wish I could break all chains still binding me. Wish I could say all the things that I can say when I'm relaxed. I'd be starting anew. I wish I could be like a bird in the sky. Don't leave me. How sweet it would be to find that I could fly. I'd soar to the sun and look down at the sea. Then I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to to be free. And then I'd sing, 'cause I know how it feels to be free. I wish I could share all the love that's in my heart. Wish I could break all the things that bind us apart. Wish you could know what it means to be me. And you'd see, you'd agree, everybody should be free, 'cause if we ain't, we're murderers. Wish I could be like a bird in the sky. How sweet it would be that I could fly so to the sun, look down and see me. I know, yes, I know. Oh yeah, spirit's moving now. For you, I already know. Jonathan Livingston Seagull ain't got nothing on me. Free, 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 free. I'm free, and I know it. Don't wanna be and I show it, but I'm still free. Then I'd sing, 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 'cause I would know. I already know.
You're listening to Spreaker Web Radio.
Hi, this is Brenda White of The Brenda White Shows right here at Spreaker.com. And I want to invite you to join me every Monday night from 9 until 11 p.m. Eastern Time for Blues in the Night with the professor of the blues himself, Walter DeBille out of Montreal, Canada. Walt is going to give us the history of the blues and tell us some great stories about these amazing men and women that made it. So if you like porch blues, if you like Delta blues, if you like Chicago blues, honey, if you like blues, then you will love Blues in the Night with Professor Walter DeBille. So join me from 9 until 11 p.m. Eastern Time every Monday night right here at the #1 broadcasting network on the net, and that's Spreaker.com, baby. That's Spreaker.com, baby. That's Spreaker.com.
You ought to call me and make things right. I wouldn't be feeling these blues in the night.
All right, I want y'all to join us every Monday night for the professor of the blues, Walt DeBille. Blues in the Night, baby. Yes. Excellent show. Nobody knows the blues like Walt knows the blues. And okay, so we're back. We got Walt. Walt got to talking about nuking, and he all of a sudden just got nuked. You know, it's like a spirit jumped in the land. And just, so we got us all back online, and I misunderstood these guys behind the scenes. You know, I could barely see the screen, my monitor, for the tears in my eyes, because they can really get out of hand. And I misunderstood Walt as he said that I thought that he said that Donald Trump was very good last night, and I could not resist saying wrong. Wrong. Are you saying he did a bigly job and was strongly? Are you saying that Donald Trump was strongly and he showed up bigly and he said, no, Mike Wallace, and then I go, right. Oh wow, that was so funny. I could barely see for crying. Oh, you know, I thought not only did Walt did his telephone line got nuked, he got nuked. Cause nobody, y'all, I don't know about y'all, but I get so confused when Donald Trump starts answering. Okay, he doesn't answer any questions.
That's right.
But when he pretends, when he acts like he's going to answer a question, he talked so long last night and he was so off point that I looked at Ken and I said, what was the question? What was the question? Because this is what Saturday Night Live gave this to me. You know, the part where they played Steve Harvey and they had Bernie Sanders in the game against the Trump surrogates and the Trump kids, and Kellyanne Conway, that character, came up to the buzzer, and Bernie came up to the buzzer for the Democrat side, and whatever the question was that the Steve Harvey character asked, Kellyanne, bam, hit the buzzer before the question was finished. And she just started rambling. Yes, Steve. And you know, because the vernacular of the secular that went, and then the squirrel went up the tree and around the bend and over to Susan. And the Steve Harvey character was looking at her like, what? What'd you say? And then he said, oh, I understand. That is the Kellyanne Conway version of when you don't know the answer to a question, just keep talking and keep talking really fast and keep talking until they forget what the question was. Bernie, do you want to try that? Bernie goes, no, pass. Because Donald Trump and the whole Trumpeteers, they will start talking. If you ask her, Jackie, is your breast pointed to the north or the south? She will start, well, you know, my feet last year, they got a fungus in them and my feet just went on and on and on. No, bitch, I asked you about your breasts, not your feet.
Oh, God.
And they will go on and on until, like I did last night, Trump started all around the bend on the question that Mike Wallace asked him about these women. Mm-hmm. I forgot what the question was. I just know it was about those women. And he started way down with the emails. Donna I don't know what he was talking about. Donna Brazil, and then he began to ramble, Jackie, and all I could hear was the marble in the tin cup just little tink was going on. And I looked at Ken and I said, what was the question? Because he talked about so much shit. He went to China and down to Brazil and the emails and back, and it was absolutely amazing. Okay.
And the thing about it too is that, you know, he may think that he wants down in Brazil, and he don't want any down in Brazil. No,
and Jackie, Clinton has won the debate by 13 points. The polls are showing. And as the conversation as they were debating, MSNBC had a line, male, female, and striking it every time he was, off course and going down and her going up. It is an amazing thing. But this has been amazing. Now, I don't know what we're going to do, y'all, after this election is over. But I will be so glad when I don't have to see him on TV anymore screaming, "We're going to build the wall. They hate me because I'm going to build the wall."
Oh, I know.
But,
Brenda,
I wonder about this debate, whether he actually did a good job for his followers. I mean, the people who really like him, that's what they want to hear.
Yeah, they do.
And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Go ahead, Jackie.
But he went something. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Kenny.
No, I was going to change the subject just a little bit because we were talking about, Chris Wallace and the job he did, and I was thinking how well Chris Wallace did when it came to the budgets that both of the candidates had presented, because we already know we get nothing of substance from Donald Trump. Okay? Right. But when Chris Wallace told him, he's like, "Look, dude, your budget is going to add $5 trillion to the deficit."
Wrong.
Okay.
Wrong.
So now, just quick fact checking, because I did it myself. Now, Hillary said it was 20 trillion, but Hillary was exaggerating.
Okay.
But to be honest with you, you're talking about you're the party of fiscal responsibility, and how is it that every time a Republican gets in the office, our money goes into the toilet? All the money goes, they give big tax cuts to the wealthy, and then they're destroying the middle class. They want to continue to take money out of Social Security and Medicare.
Well, I loved, Ken, back off a little bit off your phone.
Oh, my bad.
I loved the way that Hillary explained her budget, her plan, her economic plan. And boy, when you got to Trump again, there you went. And the horse broke out the gate, and he was in the pig pen and the chicken coop.
My point is this.
I was lost again.
Donald Trump's followers, his base,
his people,
yes, his people are so confused. Is that a nice way to put it? They are so confused that they are voting against their own best interest.
Yeah. Well, Ken, you know what I've always said to Jackie about this? This is all about hate. This is how Donald Trump got them in. Those people don't believe in nothing but hate, because he stood before them and he told them, "I think the minimum wage is too high," and they cheered on there. Ah!
Well, I put a thing up on my Facebook page. It says some of these people have been voting Republican for generations and they're still poor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they're hollering about it's time for a change. Well, you make the change.
Ken, they don't care how poor they are, but they have got to get this pickaninny out of office, which he's going, people. He's already served as long as he can serve. Do y'all know that he can't serve anymore? But and I think they hate women.
Well, you gotta go to Jackie on this because she's read the books, right?
Okay.
So I don't know how simple. I don't think it's exactly that simple, but those are definitely elements.
Oh yeah. Well, I was. Thank you very much, Walt, because I was just thinking that my book says right, that their attitude is that they deserve assistance from the government, but no one else does.
Right.
If they receive government assistance, it is because they deserve it. If someone else receives, if one of the others, for instance, receive government assistance, it's because they are lazy sloths.
Yeah.
Okay? And, that is one of the things that the author addressed very directly. He was talking about a woman who was his neighbor, who would sit out on her front porch. She had a bunch of little kids, and she she was on, aid for dependent children and food stamps and Medicaid and, all the poor people programs. But she sit out on her front porch that was subsidized by Section 8. Okay, let's keep going. And talk about these welfare chiefs and these bums and lazy slobs who wouldn't get a job, even though she wasn't making a single move to get a job of her own if her job had been to have babies, But that was it. But she would just talk, viciously about. And the thing is, he was also talking about the people who do work and they don't really make that much money. They're going to the grocery store shopping, somebody in front of them puts out their SNAP card or whatever, and they're mad, because they're working and they're not making too much, but they're having to pay for this person to eat. Okay? And so it's some weird psychological shit. I should pull my book out to get this one quote about how they live on a diet of rage and delusion.
Yeah. I agree with that completely,
like
Jackie.
Delusional. So yeah, Kenny, and when you talk about voting against your own interest, it always kills me when Republicans talk about the black folks don't support us because you don't support us.
That part.
Yeah.
Black folks, we're not like that, okay? We're just not like that. We're gonna vote in our own interest.
And Jackie, what was this scary, crazy thing they were talking about? Hillary Clinton paid folks $5,000 to go to the rallies and start fights.
No.
What was that all about?
Oh, well, the guy who made the pimp video about Acorn.
Oh, yeah.
And doctored the Shirley Sherrod video early in President Obama's presidency.
Yeah.
It's this guy who has come up with this video that he says shows people who were paid $1,500 a piece by the Clinton campaign to come to Donald Trump rallies and start fights.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
And, of course, the legitimate, I hate saying mainstream news media, but, the big news outlets have ignored this guy.
Yeah.
Because they know what he's about. Now, somebody, I think that Media Matters or something like that, has debunked this video because, of course, he edits it and does it, to make it look like something it's not. Right? And Trump is mad because nobody's talking about it. Well, nobody's talking about it because it's a lie. And so why even bring it up? I mean, this young man, his name is O'Keefe.
Right.
Look, the press has been burned by him twice, and that is enough.
Yeah.
So he could show a video of Jesus coming back to earth,
and nobody
was paying
believe
attention to it. Okay.
Yeah, because your reputation is liar.
Because his reputation precedes him.
Yeah.
And so it concerns me when Trump is out here at his rallies and he's talking about this shit, and they're inciting violence. No.
Well, Jackie, we all know
violence at your rallies
way before that. And Jackie, the more he's so confusing. I was lost when he went there, and I didn't know what he was talking about. And then
nobody did.
Jackie,
all the people who do what he was talking about is those fools in the neo-Nazi movement that love it so much.
Yeah.
Because of course they've all seen the video.
Right. You know what I mean. This morning, you remember the guy? He doesn't bring facts with him. He just they say and I heard and detail me. Y'all know his name, don't you? What's his name? And they were all standing in order like, huh? We don't know who he talking about. They don't need any facts from him. So now today he wanted them to help him out with a lie he was trying to tell, and they couldn't help him because they don't read nothing. He says, I fucking kicked that dog's ass. Yeah! I kicked his ass in the name of America. Yeah!
And, I read another article too, though, about the rally this rally that he gave in North Carolina. I believe it was last week, and there were fewer than 7,500 people there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and the reporter was saying, "Oh, it was Katie Tur, who was on MSNBC."
Yeah, Katie Tur. Yeah.
Yeah, and she was saying that at this rally, where she went to see the Trump's rally, she said the venue held 7,500 people in like the seated area. She said it was made like in a bowl, right?
Uh-huh.
And so it's an area to sit, but then there's a lot of lawn, for people to sit on as well.
Uh-huh.
And she said that the area that seated 7,500 was not full, that there were big gaps in there. But Trump was standing up on stage talking about how there were 20,000 people there.
Yeah.
Okay? And about how there were people all waiting outside and this and that. And she was like, there was nobody outside waiting. And the venue was not full. Okay? She said, now, President Obama was here the week before, and there were nearly 19,000 people here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the rally he was talking about.
He just forgot that he wasn't at
that's
that
another
one.
thing, too. They keep talking about, how big his rallies are, right?
Mm-hmm.
But she was saying that, they don't talk about it really that much, about what the turnout is at his rallies.
Mm-hmm.
But they aren't as big as and he just lies. And all the people who were there, they knew there weren't 20,000 people. Well, I could only assume they knew there weren't 20,000 people there.
And Jackie, why does he start this shit at every rally? Fire marshals, let them in, let them in. Where are the fire marshals? We got nothing but walls and space. Let them in. And here's something I want to tell you, Trump people who are listening. If you get 20,000 people a night at a rally, that does not constitute 40 million or 50 million votes. He may fly around to Iowa and Boobadoo and Detroit and South Carolina, and 15, 20,000, 5,000 of you show up. That does not constitute how
many people are going to vote for you.
Many people are going to vote for you.
Is that he does not have a ground operation.
No
right?
ground game.
And so Hillary, and of course Hillary has a stout. Hillary and the Democratic Party, they have a very stout ground operation.
Uh-huh.
And I read an article a couple of weeks ago. They were talking about voter registration and voter registration drive. Well, in Florida, the Republican ground game registered 60,000 people. The Democratic ground game registered 450,000 people.
Uh-huh.
That is a big.
And Jackie, they've been trying to tell him they cannot convince him about how important using the data is, and he just won't listen.
Well, I saw a report where Rance Previous was talking about the RNC's ground game, Jackie, and they were in this little office, and he was talking about, Rance was talking about how they had taken a page out of Obama's playbook for the RNC to do their ground game.
Right.
Now, of course, Donald Trump, like you said, does not have a ground game, but the RNC is running his ground game for him.
Uh-huh.
Right.
Well, they're trying. And listen, as they said the other night, that Trump, they were saying that Trump was, a big report came out that Trump was pulling out of Virginia. And some of the reporters asked, "Oh, Trump's pulling out of Virginia. What did you say about that?" And they said he was never here. He was never here. Pulling out of where? They asked some of the people on the ground. Trump ain't got no office here. Virginia is gone, just like Pennsylvania. But you can't tell Trump anything. These reports have been coming for the past 15 months that he would not listen. He did not understand the data. He just believed when he showed up at these rallies and all these poor old rednecks, bless their hearts, showed up and screamed for him. That was his ground game, Jackie. He's so out of it. You're up there and you're telling him, now you go to the poll November 28th. and vote,
Yes.
vote her, get her out of
Please
here.
do that.
And
Well,
it's,
you know, unlike unlike you guys, I listen to the right wing radio, right? Because you know, just by chance, one of the channels we get here on the regular radio is the local Vermont channel, and the local Vermont channel is owned by a guy who doesn't, you know, have a lot of people working for him locally, so he buys all these syndicated programs, and he obviously buys the ones that are cheapest. Right.
mm-hmm.
And apparently he's not that much of a right-wing guy, but all his radio programs are right-wing. So you get Howie Carr and Ann Coulter and whoever else, right? Laura Ingraham and those kind of people. And the amazing thing is there's this guy out of Massachusetts that has, his name is Howie Carr. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He's one of these right-wing talk show hosts, and he's really affiliated with Ann Coulter. He does events with her, and sometimes Laura Ingraham. Right, but mostly Ann Coulter. You know, they go to county fairs in New Hampshire or something like that, right? And the amazing thing is the people who call in, because really nobody calls in about policy. I mean, one of my things is that, like, you know, we've had 3 debates and we really haven't talked about any politics, basically. You know, it's just been all this, you know, stuff about Donald Trump and whatever, right? And people calling, but they never call about politics. They're calling in saying, you know, Bill Clinton did this, or you know, we have to stop illegal immigration because you know, some guy ran a light and he didn't have a license and he's from, you know, the Dominican or whatever else is the case. Yeah. But you never hear people calling anything except that I pay too much taxes. I mean, I can tell you exactly, I pay too much taxes. There's too many people from the Dominican in the Boston area. You know, it's all this kind of stuff. You don't hear anybody talk about anything that would resemble what would be politics, right? And so all these people just call up with all their complaints, and they're the Trump supporters who are out there for that kind of thing, you know. Yeah. And you never hear anything positive.
No. Well, but you know, some people live on that shit, Walt. You know, that's why they're so mad. Because
I mean, that's
all they
do.
Like,
exactly what you hear. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like when President Obama called out Trump last week to stop whining. Yeah.
Stop whining
all
and
he does is whine. You know, and
that was the best campaign statement.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. And you know, President Obama does really seem to be enjoying himself, doesn't he?
oh, he does, and he's so intelligent. He's so funny. He has an amazing ability to tell a joke, to get one told, and even when he is smacking your ass down, he does it with such grace. You don't hear Donald Trump trying to go toe to toe with him either on the trail.
No,
he just yells about
smoke.
Obamacare. It's disaster. Premiums going up 80, 100, 200%. Stop lying.
Well, no, because the premiums are going up in the Republican states where the governors refuse to take money.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, that is true. That is the problem, isn't it?
If they would have taken that $3 billion,
the problem is the Republicans is still sticking with the Republican playbook. We'll say no to the money. We'll say no to people having health care. So that we can say that Obamacare is a failure and it needs to be repealed and replaced. When the fact of the matter is if they would fund it and give the people the money that Obamacare promised, then it would work like it's working in California.
And work like it's working here in Arkansas. I don't have a premium. I don't have a premium going up or going down. I don't have a premium. I don't pay for medication. I didn't pay for my $100,000 hip replacement. It's working fine for me. So you can't convince me of how terrible Obamacare is. And a good friend of mine works here in a government office, and she has to see clients every day. And she said, if you even think about taking their Obamacare, they will bring the pitchforks out on you.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand why. Now, we have a Republican governor, but the Democratic governor who served out his term limit had come. He took this money in place. He took this money before he was out of office. So it was already into play. And the Republicans here, got ready to go on the floor and vote up here at the Capitol and take away, get rid of it. Shit, they got pitchforks brought out on their asses. They left Obamacare alone.
Yeah, they did.
And it's working just fine here.
Well, because, too, if they had repealed it, it would have just blown up their budget.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because one of the points that Hillary made last night was that Obamacare extended the life of Medicare. Mm-hmm. That was one of the things, that was one of the results of the legislation. Mm-hmm. And so you're talking about entitlements. Well, if you repeal Obamacare, then that means that Medicare will run out of money before, you know, sooner than they're predicting it will. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I mean, but then that was the other thing, too, about Paul Ryan when he came out with his, quote, healthcare plan, unquote, right? Mm-hmm. And he was keeping all of the things in place that Obamacare had done to lower costs. Oh, but he's going to get rid of the law. Like, son, it doesn't work that way, and you know it.
Yeah.
So, and when President Obama talks about the people who know better going along with this mess, he has a really excellent point, because there are Republicans who do know better.
Well, Jackie,
but the thing is, without all those angry, what is it that Lindsey Graham said? You know, they got to make a lot of angry white guys. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, that without those voters, though, they have nothing.
Well, let me ask one of you. We have about 8 minutes before showtime is over. Let me ask either one of you if you have heard or know of what happened to the bill that was vetoed by President Obama, and then the Republicans went running around and around in the pen, going crazy. Oh, Obama vetoed money to help the vets. And then Mitch McConnell came out and said, well, we need to rethink this thing. Does anyone know where that situation is?
No, I don't know, because, you know, they didn't do anything about it before they left for their next extended break, right, to go home and campaign. Mm-hmm. So I don't know what happened to it. You know, I mean, it's been passed, but I don't know when the bill is supposed to go into effect. So, you know, and I haven't heard a single other thing about that.
Mitch McConnell said they may have had a Brexit effect here. We have to change this thing. We need to go back and look at this again. And just for the audience, we're talking about the bill that was passed and vetoed by the president, allowing 911 victims to sue Saudi Arabia. Now they've already been paid insurance money of sorts for their losses.
They did get, you know, money like from the federal government, state of New York, and a few other things.
Yeah, and so now they wanted to be able, and I'm sure some lawyer put this in their heads, and then lobbied Congress them to do this craziness. And the president had been warning all along. If you do this, you are opening up the international doors, barn doors, for everybody that wants to sue us.
Yes.
And then
there are plenty of folks who do.
And there are plenty of folks who do. And as soon as he vetoed it and they went back and overrode his veto, then Mitch McConnell started, well, now there has been what we have here,
you know,
is a failure to communicate. The president should have worked a little harder to communicate to us. Well, Jackie, I understood what the president told him. I understood why he vetoed it. How come these intellectual...
Well, and not only that, the president, you know, and the administration worked very hard, you know, to keep this bill from coming up. Mm-hmm. But, of course, the Republicans being who they are, right? And I think, honestly, you know, because Mitch McConnell, you know, he has probably read his Machiavelli. He probably reads that, you know, every night. What do you think, Walt? You know? And what I'm thinking is...
I don't know if he reads, but...
I don't know if he reads.
Yeah, and what I'm thinking is, you know, the Democrats have saved the Republicans from doing some really stupid shit.
Yeah.
The Obama administration. And I believe that what he wanted to have happen was for the Democrats to have to block the veto right?
Uh-huh.
And so they could go home and beat them over the head and talk about how they voted against the 9/11 families.
Yeah.
And the Democrats didn't do that this time.
And the vets, and I when I saw it come across Facebook from one of the Trumpettes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, pray everybody! Oh Lord Jesus, Obama just blocked a bill to give the vets.
Oh my goodness! I'm sorry, guys. I'm just looking at a poll that shows Hillary Clinton 5 points up in Arizona.
Yes.
7 points up
How
in
is that
Nevada.
possible?
Early voting has started today in North Carolina. Can you hear the sucking sound?
And I mean, the lines are long.
The lines
everywhere
are
you go.
long.
In North Carolina, they're long. In Atlanta, they were long. You know.
Go watch. Go stand. Look and see. You tell me.
But back to your conversation, Auntie. The thing that kills me is, how is it that the turtle could stand up there and say, we need to look at this again because we didn't know what was in it. We didn't actually know what was in it.
Yeah,
you wrote it.
You wrote it. I mean, there's no liars like them. I'm sure that both sides may mislead us all a little bit from time to time, but the Republicans, they have a monopoly on lying.
They insult our intelligence
every day. Daily. Bigly. Strongly.
Bigly.
They do this. And it's just such a shame that his followers don't get anything. And it just amazed me. But you know that the followers, the only time, Jackie, that they can come on a post and say anything, they just start name calling and saying Benghazi and emails, 30,000 emails. I wrote back the other day, she bleached them. Remember, they're gone. Now your leader has told you, what do you keep asking her for? They're gone. He told you she bleached them. Big.
Yeah, well, you know, Brenda,
got rid of them.
The thing too is that this is just an example of what Steve Schmidt is talking about when he talks about intellectual rot.
Right. Yes.
Because you know, one of the hallmarks of anti-intellectualism is being unable to let go of things. And they want to tread over the same ground over and over and over again. They beat a horse until not only is it dead, it's just bones. And
okay. Yeah, hey, Jackie, they go Yosemite Sam or yeah, and they beat him till he drops and then turn to bones, and they still beat the bones. It's just, it's
I was just going to say that, you know, in the long run, when I look at this political thing, I'm just saying, like, you know, if you were having a real political campaign and you were talking about foreign policy, I mean, I thought it was hilarious, foreign policy, because I happened to just catch one of the Russian experts and what do you call it, on Smirkanish or one of those POTUS shows, you know, and, you know, saying exactly the opposite of what they were saying last night, but at any rate, you know, if you're really talking about foreign policy, you're really talking about the deficit, like people have no idea about the deficit whatsoever. You know, we would actually be able to sit down and have a conversation and really talk about politics. But you can't talk about politics with these people.
No, you can't. You cannot.
You know, there's no politics involved here. This is just ridiculous. So the best thing to do is to get the campaign over with.
Yeah, it's just all hate is involved, Walt. There's just nothing. Okay, so Jackie, as we get ready to say goodbye, here's your chance to give us an update on your Bundy boys.
Oh,
I didn't give Walt an assignment.
Yeah, my Bundy boys are being tried right now. Well, Eamon is being tried right now. And it's really funny what people say when they think they have the upper hand and what they say when their asses are looking at going to jail for a really long time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you guys remember when Eamon Bundy and his butt boys took over the Malheur Wildlife Reserve in Oregon, right?
Uh-huh.
And he was the leader, and they were starting an American Revolution, and they wanted their patriots to come and join them, and blah, blah, blah. And he was the leader of this movement. Well, in court now, you know, he testified a couple of weeks ago that no, he wasn't leading anything.
knew you were gonna say that. I ain't the leader of nothing.
Yeah, and they didn't bring their guns to hurt nobody or intimidate nobody. They just wanted folks to know they were serious. Now, one of his co-defendants
They
has
were gonna
already
kill a
pled
few
guilty.
deer.
Okay, he's pled guilty and he wants to do his plea and get out because they're looking at a whole lot of time in federal prison.
Uh-huh.
Okay, but I just think it's really funny the what he's saying now as opposed to what he was saying then. And then also, I think that watching his old friend, do you recall, Brenda, and I'm sorry I don't remember this man's name, but the guy who showed up on Lawrence O'Donnell's show with a tarp over his head?
No, I don't remember that.
That everybody was calling Tarp Man.
No, I don't.
He was the one that was killed when the cops stopped him.
Oh.
Because he was because he pulled his weapon, on the officers, and they shot him.
They lit him up.
And I really think that traumatized Eamon Bundy.
Okay, like
he saw this man killed right in front of him. And the thing about it is, it's one thing to talk about this stuff, and obviously these guys have romanticized notions.
Yes.
In their heads about shootouts and gun violence and stuff like that. But to actually witness that stuff.
Yeah, and said, "Damn, that wasn't no watermelon."
No.
That was my friend's head just went off.
Yes, my husband just said it's not a video game. You don't get back up. and so now Eamon he's just a loyal American. He doesn't want to overthrow the federal government. I mean, do you hear me, guys?
Okay, and Jackie, they were screaming, "Get your guns, boys! Get out here! Help us! It's a war!" and what did they get? A bunch of dildos in the mail.
And 50 gallons of lube, yes. Yes.
I always thought that Brenda should have given you some extra cash to go up there and do it.
I know, right?
I'm like,
Oh, Lord. Guys.
I know, right? Because I really did want to cover that story.
You did.
Yeah, but also the federal government arrested 19 people who they identified as leaders of the rebellion at Bundy Ranch. That's what I started. That's the way I think of it, when this stuff first started in Nevada with him and his ornery cows, as the feds say. So, they haven't, I don't know if the Fed intended to go after all 200 folks who were out there. But, they have arrested 19 of them, and the 19 that they have arrested are the people who did, like, the internet thing, a call to arms for that, and got people to come out. But if that's the case, I think they should arrest Sean Hannity, too.
Ooh.
Now.
Yeah. Nobody's listening to Sean Hannity. Sean told him, no, didn't even call Sean Hannity. Write him. He tell you. I don't remember what Donald Trump was yelling about on the last debate.
Oh, that was about his support for the Iraq War.
Oh, yeah.
Sean Hannity passed.
But,
Sean Hannity and Fox News really played this mess up, but especially Sean Hannity. Okay? So if you're going to arrest these guys for recruiting people online to come with their firearms, why isn't Sean Hannity in handcuffs?
Yeah. Okay, so Jackie, Walt, Jackie, Ken, get yourselves ready. Say whatever you want to say and say goodbye. It could be funny. It could be, what did you learn today? Hello?
Well, I learned the same thing that I always learn, is that, not much. But I want to thank everybody for making me feel better because, I was depressed. And so I am less depressed, and I thank you all for that. Thank you. Thank you especially Walt, because Walt came with the jokes today.
Yes, he did.
Yeah, Walt, you really did. Walt, what have you learned today?
Well, I don't know, but since we've been talking, it's starting raining a lot harder. I don't know what else. I just want this to be over. Can we go back to what we used to be doing? When is this election? November 8th, right?
Okay.
I know.
God,
We don't have much longer now. We don't have much longer now.
19 days, guys. Don't forget to vote down ballot. Ken, what have you learned today?
Real quick, I'm gonna make Jackie depressed again. Trump's triumph, because Donald Trump is finna parlay this election into a bunch of money for himself and his little crony buddies and his neo-Nazi constituency. And I think the KKK is about to revive itself bigly
strongly
in the United States because of Donald Trump and his campaign.
Oh, wow. Well,
I think you're right.
I would not be surprised, but
Love you, sis.
I believe that.
Okay.
I believe that our government has a lock on, and I want to tell you white folks at the Trump rallies that going off and threatening to kill Hillary and the rest of us, they got your name and number. Don't think you just leaving that rally and everything gonna be all right. After a while, you gonna be crying like Bundy. I was just bullshitting. I was just showing off for my friends. It was just the atmosphere, because they take this shit very seriously. And as Trump is saying, well, maybe my Second Amendment people gonna have to take care of it. You still will never be the president of the United States. And it's all because of your mouth. Hillary didn't do it to you. You did it to yourselves. People, most important election in our lives. Barack was a very good, feel-good election, and one that we needed and we loved it. And we're going to miss him with all of his class and his POTUSness. But
well, I think that's what's been helping his approval numbers too. I mean, just looking at this election,
at this trash, this mess.
So
yes.
Look, a couple of weeks ago, I saw a poll that said 60% of Americans would like for President Obama to have a third term.
That's right.
I did too, and I saw one among millennials, Jackie, that said,
yeah, they wanted him to be. I know they wanted him to be president
forever. POTUS for life. And so we really, we've got, y'all, you just can't look at Donald Trump and just imagine his old pooch mouth stuck out all the time, and him painted one color from the next, from Goldilocks to orange to red skin to, it's just, he's horrible. And he doesn't know anything. And I'm just so humiliated and embarrassed to even be looking at him. And I'll be so glad when we don't have to look at him every day. Except for
I think what Brenda wants to say, it's a disaster.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's a disaster. It's disgusting. It's just, I've never seen, believe me, never seen nothing like it in my life. Believe me. Okay. All right. So y'all, we'll see you again next Thursday afternoon, and let's talk about it. But in the meantime and in the between time, you have been listening to Let's Talk About It. I am the wild and wonderful Brenda White, coming to you live from the Jewel of the Delta, and that is Forest City, Arkansas, and broadcasting live from the #1 broadcasting network on the net, and that's Spreaker.com. Join me tomorrow night for Nothing But the Blues with your girl Brenda Pearl, okay, right back here at the Brenda White Shows. And then join me Saturday night, and let's get soft and warm together as I try and give you an eargasm from 11 until 2 a.m. And don't forget, immediately following Walt on Monday night for Blues in the Night, please join David Capers immediately following that at 11 o'clock for Jazz for the Ages. And don't forget to catch CPG, the daytime diva herself, 5 days a week right here for jams and more jams. Remember, I want you to live, laugh, love, and make love as often as you possibly can. Keep the bullshit out of your lives and be kind to one another, okay? All right. We love you. I'm out, and I'll see you tomorrow night. Say bye to the peoples, y'all.
Bye.
Bye, peoples. Okay, we out.
Look around you, just see